Here's an example of something I've done many times in my life. You're stuck in some situation with someone, a friend, a coworker, an ex. And then here's what you do. You meditate and you start to see all the goodness. And then you start to see where you were wrong. And then you suddenly, right in the middle of it, go back to trying to fix the thing. And then you go back down again because you're not noticing the unconditional love that it's giving you. And then instead of you continuing to expand with that, you're like, oh, maybe now I can fix this over here. Maybe, but notice the space you're in is changing you, and stay in that space and stop making the circumstance the answer. You might bring in compassion, you might bring in forgiveness, but just because you're clearing something and you have a specific vision or a fix or something, you don't have to drop everything and go to that. Keep going to God for a while. Right? Keep going to God, because it really is like an elevator, and you're going to have these openings and then desires to get off on a floor. And my dare to you is to stay on the elevator, because it's where the magic is. Whenever I get ready for these events, all these kind of just ideas and possibilities and content just shows up in my head right before, and I start to hear how guided we all are, and really hear, what I need to hear, and what I need to learn, and what I need to offer you. I want you to remember that the content that comes through me is not uh, just for you, it's for me. And it's telling me this is the steps to creating a completely different life for me from here on out. And quite a bit of these steps, I'm sure, will resonate with your heart, because we're all the same in so many ways. I know there's a million ways that we're unique and different, but there also is a similar feature that we all have, as far as the desire for growth, as far as that we're all connected to each other, and that we're all connected to source. And our intention this weekend is to connect to that source and see what it has for us, and release the idea that things need to be a certain way. There's so much that we have decided in our egos, that things should be like, that things should be doing, things should be happening a certain way. Whether it's a relationship should be happening a certain way, or even that you shouldn't be feeling guilt or sadness or whatever. And sometimes, if you can be okay with that you're feeling guilt or sadness, you can release it. None of it is actually real, but it's built in our bodies, and our job is to connect to something bigger, and it will show it to us. It will show us what we need to learn, and it always has a new lesson for us. And my goal and my intention with you is to take the time to consciously connect to what's real. I really believe that what's on the news is passing, whether it's a true story or not. It's passing. Do you get what I mean by that? So whatever CNN says, whatever Fox News says, whatever the news says, whatever YouTube says, we see those stories as the truth of life, but they're passing stories in the truth of life. And our job is to connect to the truth versus the stories within the truth, right? Our job is to connect to the now. Our job is to really connect to the permanent versus the story of the, job, the story of my income is this, the story of this is my body. I have all these body issues, that I have this, whatever it is. We're not here to connect to our judgment or a temporary thing. We're here to connect to something bigger. I just want to offer you that my intention is for us to birth a world that we don't understand from here. Right? Like, imagine the most you can see from here is nothing compared to what's coming. Right? That's my intention with you. My intention is magic. My intention is release. My intention is growth with you. I want to offer you what's your intention? What would you like to get out of this? And what really is awesome, if you can have the intention of something that's open-ended, the intention of something that's like, I don't know, versus like, I'm going to get that relationship locked, I'm going to get that job. How about having an intention of, opening beyond what you understand. That's a great one. Freedom, to let go. Awesome. Awesome. It'll be easy to let go when instead of letting go, we hold on to something bigger, right? It's much harder to let go of something that you keep looking at what you're letting go, but it's easy to decide I'm holding on to something bigger. Can you feel the difference there, right? I'm gonna put this drink down. Okay, well, I keep picking it up. I'm gonna put this drink down. I'm gonna keep picking it up to put it down, right? So how often do you go, I'm going to let go, and then you keep checking on the thing that you let go of? I do this all the time, right? And I find that the only way that I can actually let go of something is going up the ladder and grabbing onto something that is replacing it. And you can grab onto God, you can grab onto the universe, you can consciously take the time to move beyond the story of you, right? So instead of letting go of something within the old story and then looking at what we're letting go of, what are we moving towards? What are we grabbing? Right? And these next 4 days are us seeing what happens if we string day after day and moment after moment of grabbing onto something bigger. And we're going to learn how to do that this weekend in a totally new way, right? So we're not just letting go of the old life, we're saying yes to the new life. And that's a way to see it that's going to free you so much, right? Like, oh, I'm going to intend towards having source look at me and me look at source, having this moment do its job. Bringing the aspects inside of my body that I judge to source. You don't have to bring it to other people. You can, but you can also bring it to source. Do you understand what I mean by that? There are actually things in your body that you hide from source, right? Like there are things in your body that you just see as darkness and you don't even want to admit about yourself. But you don't have to admit it to everyone in the world, but you can definitely take it to source. I go for God walks and say, I say out loud, I don't like this about me. I don't like this. And then it goes from being a thing that I'm shoving down and judging to a thing that I now see and love. And then it alchemizes and changes. So imagine your body has a bunch of stuff that you totally accept about yourself. Like, I accept that I do this for a living. I accept that I'm the father of Vivi. I accept that I'm wearing this blue coat. And then there's a bunch of stuff that maybe we don't accept about ourselves. Like certain aspects for me, I have aspects of my body that I don't fully love and I'm going to intend to bring to source, right? Aspects of self-judgment that I want to, in my meditations, just take up and bring to source. And the only thing that causes darkness is you pushing it down and not letting God alchemize it. It's not the thing that's dark. It's that you're judging it because society taught you that certain things are good, certain things are bad. And so you just suddenly can hate yourself if you're not within the way you look at society's rules. Are you with me so far? Right? So our job is to take these things that we don't love about ourselves and bring them to source. Now, for a lot of people, that could be the way introverts move, right? A lot of people who are introverted are very good at not talking their stuff out with other people and being with it themselves. But sometimes the shadow to being introverted is the reason you're internal about it is you're repressing a lot. Right? Now, there's also introversion that is open and connected to source, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of people that go, I'm going to just deal with my problems myself. And then they kind of don't. They just kind of keep them in. And there's this kind of introverted self that goes, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And they're very good at keeping their stuff down because they're scared of what would be past that. And then extroverts have the opposite problem. Extroverts are wide open, but they're often to people versus God. Right? Extroverts are like, I'm going to take this issue and I'm going to tell it to someone else. Look at me talking about it. Usually an introvert. Extroverts often take their stuff and tell an introvert about it. And then the introvert goes, oh, okay, I'll process it by shoving it down. And then the extrovert feels released, but also is trying to process their stuff through other people who shove their shit down. Now, what would happen if the extrovert, instead of opening to other people, opened to God? Because they're already good at being open. But sometimes they're almost open to avoid fully processing the shit themselves. It's like I'm extroverting all my pain, even though I'm actually so open that I could clear my pain. But instead of me just clearing it, I'm going to pass it to someone else and then have them process it. I've done that my whole life. I'll be like, I wonder if I should go to the bathroom. Everyone, I got to go through a panel of a jury of friends. Yeah, go ahead. I'm like, is that okay with everyone? You're all good if I go pee? Right? I gotta process my shit through everyone else when I know it's fine if I just go. Right? Or if I decide to eat a certain way, or everything I do, I'm like, what if I do this? Everyone, we all need to discuss it together. That's my shadow versus I'm just going to discuss it with God, be okay with it, move forward. Right? Introverts often have the other thing. They're very good at processing things alone, but it might not be open, right? And they could also just shift to, they're already good at with themselves, but they could open themselves. That's it. Just go, I'm lost. I don't know. Right. So the introversion isn't just a repression, right? It's an opening. So the goal for extroverts is take that open thing to people and move it to God. And the goal from introverts is take that amazing ability to be with yourself and be with yourself and God and open yourself more. Right. So we're all good at one aspect of this. And if we could take the other aspect of what we're missing and bring it to this weekend, we could have an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. So everyone take a deep breath and release it. And just feel here for a second. Just feel like, what if this moment, this space, this here is your best friend? That it wants to hear your problems or your judgments. That it loves you. That it has literally no judgment for you. Can you receive that? Can you receive that? Because there's a pattern in your body that actually is used to working through someone judging it. And if you can just receive that you're not judged right now, that's death to a part of you that eventually you're going to cry out. This space can give you the most unconditional love, but we don't want to receive that. You can actually feel the fear of conditional love grabbing on for dear life. As you listen right now to the everything's okayness of this moment, feel your heart beating, no condition. It doesn't need you to make a certain amount, doesn't care what people are saying about you. There's a gentle, much more gentle, unconditional love that's right here. And I want to offer you to have the patience to receive the real unconditional love of this moment. Bring in some patience, bring in some intention. And there's going to be times this weekend where you're going to want to stop meditating because it's the little you that's used to conditional love is going to freak out. You're bringing a portal that's bigger to it. And so what I want to offer you is to look at some whys. Why are we doing this? Let me give you an example. I know that me moving to a higher space of love will affect how my daughter sees herself. So if I think of my daughter and her seeing herself unconditionally loved through me and then through herself or in the future, then it's worth it. It's worth the long meditation. I know that I could transcend childhood wounds by listening to this space. So it's worth it. I know that I could experience avenues of myself I've never experienced before. I know that I would be permission for everyone around me to be themselves fully. I actually think that quite a bit of the world mirrors what you're doing too. I'll tell you, the other day, I had a 4-hour cry out release. And when I finally took my last breath in, I'm not kidding. I cried it all out, and I took this last breath in. I went, and the sun literally broke in through the window in that second. And it was so surreal and magical. And I've had it where I was on a walk and I was holding space for myself and just releasing. And then I thought of something and I started crying, and it rained exactly in the amount of time I was crying. And then I stopped and it stopped raining. And I was like, where did that come from? It was sunny around that little, that's really, I've had so many weird magical mirrors of where I am, right? And sometimes our ego wants to stay in this place that's stuck and change everything versus just receive the love that you are and watch as the world mirrors it. Like, imagine if the game of life is for you to work on you, bring in unconditional love. Imagine like God's trying to move you up and move the world up, and you keep grabbing onto some conditional stuck love and making that your God, so it can't. So you weirdly keep seeing the same results everywhere. You see the same stuckness, you see the same everything, because if you look at the exact mirror of what you're doing, you're trying to move up, but you keep grabbing something so it can't move you up. And then you're like, why is the world like that? Well, you're looking through your wound because you keep grabbing the stuck conditional love and making that your God. And you might even have desires to do that throughout the weekend. Meaning, like, you could be meditating. Here's an example of something I've done many times in my life. You're stuck in some situation with someone, a friend, a coworker, an ex. And then here's what you do. You meditate and you start to see all the goodness. And then you start to see where you were wrong. And then you suddenly, right in the middle of it, go back to trying to fix the thing. And then you go back down again because you're not noticing the unconditional love that it's giving you. And then instead of you continuing to expand with that, you're like, oh, maybe now I can fix this over here. Maybe, but notice the space you're in is changing you, and stay in that space and stop making the circumstance the answer. You might bring in compassion, you might bring in forgiveness, but just because you're clearing something and you have a specific vision or a fix or something, you don't have to drop everything and go to that. Keep going to God for a while. Right? Keep going to God, because it really is like an elevator, and you're going to have these openings and then desires to get off on a floor. And my dare to you is to stay on the elevator, because it's where the magic is. Right? You're meditating and you feel amazing and everything's good. And then you go, oh, that's the problem. That's what it was. That's why I was off with this thing. Hey, we can make it work. And it's like, you're the answer now. Hear me, that we can make this work. Please, let's fix this together. I'm fine now. I get where I was wrong. Now we can make this work. Now you're my God, not God. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? It'll give you answers and solutions, but that's just the beginning. It'll also give you a totally free life. So don't just get one vision and hop off the elevator. Don't just get one. Remember, you're the elevator. The whole thing is going to keep changing around you if you stay on the elevator. It's so easy to go there. Oh, that's what I'm going to do for a living. Boom. Never mind. That's my God. Goodbye. No. Hold on. The whole world is moving around your elevator. Don't just get off at floor 2. There's a billion floors, right? How do I get over floor 1? Passing floor 2. There it is. Oh, hold on. We had a billion floors. Wait till you get to floor 120. Everything will mold around you. Everything will change around you because you won't be triggered by things. You will have brought so much love to the inner child. You will have brought so much love and compassion to all the stuck aspects of you that you can handle everything. Leanne says, do we ever get off? You don't have to. And have any of us ever experimented with what happened if we didn't get off? All of us get off at floor 2. Most of us live at floor 1 and don't even try 2. Some go to 3, and then Eckhart goes to 5, and there's a billion floors, right? Eckhart probably goes to higher than 5. I'm just pointing out, like, you get my point? It's so easy to just go, that floor is the answer because it's new and it's more exciting. Maybe, but some of us can go, what's exciting is I somehow managed to get to a higher floor. How did I do that? That's what's exciting. That's more exciting than the floor. Are you with me? The space that I created that changed floors is more exciting than the floor itself. Daylight asks, how about claustrophobia? Which is probably why her name's Daylight. It's a good point. Many of us probably will get claustrophobic while we're in our elevator, because what is an elevator? A small, tiny, dark box that you can't tell if there's magic on the other side, literally, even when it's in front of you. You get to floor 100 and you could be like, like that's meditation. It's like dark, 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 block, 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 stuck, 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 freedom. You don't get to anticipate the floor coming up very much. It's just like, shit, surprise. Like it's always when you think you're the most screwed that it opens up. There's no ability to anticipate what's happening. This space wants to do that for you. It's so hard for the ego that it is that easy. And I want to offer you, for it to be that easy, bring all of you into the meditation. Make sure you're not meditating only from here to block the darkness in the body that you're used to judging. Some people meditate as a numbing device. That's not what we're doing. We're bringing unconditional love and light to everything. Sean says, what does that mean to meditate only in the head? What I mean is some people feel so much crap in their body that they go, okay, I'm going to get okay with it by meditating. And then they kind of keep avoiding this stuck area or the darkness in their body and just stay in their head. And try to manage, don't try to manage your feelings in this. That's keeping them within the realm of your ego. Do you know what I mean? Trying to organize your pain, trying to organize your stuckness. Don't organize your stuckness right now. Let God see it. Let the now see it. Can you let, almost like you just kind of feel all of your body, no matter what's there. Don't try to organize it. Let it be confused. Let it be sad. Heather says, sometimes it can feel like it's causing my blood pressure to rise, though. That's fine. If you become the space that says that's fine, then you're a safe space. Because if you're thinking it's bad that I feel lost, stuck, my blood pressure is rising, it's bad, then the blood pressure is against a thing that says it's not okay. So it's stuck and it's in an argument with itself. Imagine if you were grabbing God, connecting with Source right now, creating a safe space for it. And it's okay if the pattern panics while you become a safe space of love for it. Take a deep breath in. Can you make it okay? Belinda says, I've been feeling a stabbing pain on my left side. I want you to try, if you can, to make it okay. Because what is that? You're just sitting. Are you actually stabbing yourself? What if she was stabbing herself? I don't know why. Well, that don't do. Let's not stab ourselves. But a pattern wants to act itself out. The only way out of a pattern is through the pattern. And most of our patterns become scary to us, so we try to organize to keep them in. And what you need is to allow the space that's bigger than the story of you to join you today and tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. 4 days. I promise you, day 4, we're going to find synchronicities all over the place. The more receptive you are to the now, the more everything truly starts to become magic. You'll see it as we go. You'll see it. Magic is totally normal. It's just not common because we get the match to our living in our egoic state in floor 1 or 2. And then we make floor 2 the answer versus the elevator. Take a deep breath in. And think about this. When we start to feel the darkness in our body, that's what an addiction is. It goes, I don't want to feel this. I feel abandoned. I feel stuck, lonely, sad, scared. So I got to go on the internet. I got to watch the election thing. I gotta go somewhere. I gotta tell everyone about it. I gotta overeat because I just need to not feel this thing. Meanwhile, if it was felt and fully cared for, it would dissolve. Boredom is allowed too. Make everything allowed. Everything in the world is allowed. Uncomfortable is allowed. There's no word you could say that I'm not like, it's allowed. Because see, you associate those words to death. For some reason, we think boredom means death. Boredom is a pattern is trying to come up and you're running from it or judging it. Trust me, if you allow the pattern to fully come up, you will not be bored. I mean, isn't it weird that connecting to Source in the moment is considered boring? Do you think it's the moment, or do you think it's the constant desire to be away from the only moment that you're in? Is it the moment's boring, or is your argument with yourself boring? Take a deep breath in. Why don't you all take a minute and feel your heart beating? And feel the space. And I want you to picture yourself almost listening and opening, but not to a person, not to a job, not to a pattern, but to the now. Open to the now. And listen. Like, let it be the boss for a minute, not you. You know how we ask God for stuff and then we're the boss, but God's like, I got this for you though. And it's like, who's in charge? It's like God's the personal coach and the life coach or whatever. And then you're telling God what you want. And it's like, no, get on the treadmill. And you're like, nope, I should be doing bands. And it's, who's in charge? Do you want to surrender to what life has for you? Or do you want to boss life around? And let your 5-year-old ego be the boss of God. And weirdly, it never works. No, I want to get this. I want to get this. Give me this. I want this person to like me. There's 8 billion people. You don't know what you're talking about. How about a match? How about someone that's a match for you? No, I want this job. I got a way better job for you. Go up the elevator. Really? You want that job? I got a soul job trying to come at you, but you get off at floor 2. That's the answer. Would you stop? Get in. I got better. Just clear out this weird thing that wants to impress your dad still. He's dead. Like, let it. I got a better thing. Stop trying to make mom or dad from the 80s or 70s still now God. So open to this moment right now. Open to patience too. Like, where's the result? 2 minutes in. Hold on. You won't go to the gym for 2 minutes and see a different body either. It just doesn't mean it's not happening. Open to this moment. Open to nothing, which is everything. Open to here right now. Jessica asks, how do you know if you're on the elevator going up? Ask this space. That whole question. How do I know if I'm on the elevator? And then wait. Wait for an answer that's not literally an ABC step answer. You have your own elevator. You have your own way. It's got a million lessons that are your own unique lessons. There are so many lessons other people can't teach you. The only thing I'm here to guide you to is your own lessons and your own journey, your own way, where you don't just only put other people and other speakers and other things on pedestals, and you go, I have my own unfolding right here that I'm here to learn. So almost every question, by the way, in fact, I'm probably going to say every question is your ego. Like, if we look at the questions that are coming up, how do you know if you're just on the elevator going up? Or Katie asks, I have a similar question. How do I know that I'm open to the space? How do I know that I'm doing it right? Can you hear that that's Katie's inner child, scared she's going to do it wrong? Because in the childhood, if you do it wrong, something happens to you. So we're trying to do it right so that doesn't happen. So literally our pattern is God is my dad in the 80s, or God is my mom not getting angry, or God, whatever. So instead of answering that question literally, could you just sit and hold space for almost every question that's coming up? Is the ego? How do I know? I see you, little 5-year-old. How am I doing it right? Do you think the universe is moving from right or wrong? There's no punishment from the real universe. Belinda asks, what does holding space mean? Listening to this now. Listening to the combination of this space right here. Can you hear the space, my voice, maybe a fan in your house? Whatever little noises you hear, can you hear them all at the same time? Can you hear my moving this bottle here, talking, the fan, all at the same time, the silence, your ideas and your fears all together? Can you hear all of it? Take a deep breath and let's listen to this space for a little while. I'm going to be right here with you meditating. And look at all the questions that arise and be here for those questions. Be here for the voice that has the questions. Who's asking? Just be here for that scared kid. Every question is a scared kid. Can you handle that? Every question is a scared child. Can you hear a question and not answer it? I want to dare you to have a meditation with me where every question that comes up doesn't get answered, it gets held, it gets seen. Let your questions come up. How do I know if I'm meditating right? How do I know if I'm introvert or extrovert? How do I know how not to get stuck? And don't answer it. Be the space that hears the questions and brings unconditional love to the question, because the question is your child stuck. What if they don't like me? What if I do this wrong? Oh man, there's such gold here. You're the whole space. And to do that, listen also to the silence around you. In a second, I'm going to be here with you, but I'm going to hit the mute button. And I want to dare you to have a little bit of time where you be here for the questions and the fears. By being the space that you actually are and letting them just be seen, and just see what happens if you just watch them and don't try to change them or judge them. Listen to this silence right now.